What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to more Dead by Daylight. Now in this video we are going to be talking about the brand new developer update that just got released, and there's a lot of stuff in here. Okay, usually I give you guys some gameplay in the background going over a couple things, but this is huge. There is a lot of information in here. So basically, this is the only way I'm going to be able to get this information to you guys when it comes to developer update. It's going to tell you some nerfs, some buffs when it comes to perks, when it comes to killers, when it comes to the mid-chapter patch, and what they're going to be releasing. Okay, so let's get started. So first things first, they said right here, this is the Chapter 16 review. With the upcoming mid-chapter, we're kicking off a new initiative to review the previously released chapter, the killer, their perks, and their survivor perks, and make any changes that are needed. The first to receive this treatment is the Silent Hill chapter. We feel that it's important to see how the new content plays out in a real scenario before committing to balance changes. Something that seems overpowered upon release can end up being a non-issue once people have had a chance to play it and develop counterplay. Likewise, something that might seem underpowered might find a niche once people have had the time to experiment with new builds and playstyles. Other times, the playstyles that crop up over time turn out to be frustrating or unfun to play against. With this in mind, we plan to review the previous chapter once it had a few months to simmer and address any issues or imbalances that may have appeared. This period gives us a chance to monitor how the new content is used and get better understanding of how it is used and how it can be abused before tweaking things. So basically, when it comes to all this information right here, they're not going to be making any changes when it comes to chapter releases, like if a killer is OP right off the bat, if there's perks that are too good or too bad. They're not going to be making any of those changes up until the mid-chapter, just so people can have some time to actually mess with a couple things and provide feedback later on. So this is very understandable. In my opinion, I do like this, but then again, there are those people that say, hey, this is absolutely broken. Fix it right now or I'm going to stop playing your game. There's a lot of people that do that. But anyway, let's keep going. Let's go ahead and check the rest of this out. This right here is Executioner Changes. So a lot of people right now are complaining about the Executioner, so let's see what they have to say and what they are going to be changing. So right here it says, from watching Pyramid Head matches over the past few months, we have noticed that many people will opt to only use his punishment of the damn attack at pallets and windows, where the survivor is locked into the interaction and unable to attempt to dodge the attack. To address this and make gameplay more dynamic, we are making two changes. Increasing the delay after canceling Rights of Judgment before Pyramid can attack. The reason for this change is to add a downside to canceling your power at each pallet or window. Currently, the survivor is left with two choices: vault the window, drop the pallet, and get hit with Punishment of the Damned, or continue running and get hit with basic attack. By increasing the delay before you can do a basic attack after canceling Rights of Judgment, the survivor gets a small window to avoid an attack, similar to the Huntress or Demogorgon. So right off the bat, let me just say that this is a nerf. From that first change, this is 100% a nerf. But I think it was a much needed nerf when it comes to Pyramid Head, just because a lot of people abuse it. A lot of people do mind tricks when it comes to Pyramid Head, okay? Especially if you've been playing him for a long time, you know how the power works. You know how to mind read basically the survivor whenever they're about to vault or drop a pallet. You just put your sword on the ground and kind of fake it, okay? You fake like you're going to use the power so they can do the action, drop the pallet or vault, just so you can have that time to actually hit that survivor. So with this delay, it's kind of a little more different, okay? You're really gonna have to think about when you should actually use the power, when you should actually commit to the action, because if you do, you will have that small delay of being able to recover and actually keep going after the chase or do a basic attack. So I do like this. And number two, when it comes to the changes, decreasing the delay after attacking with Punishment of the Damned. So when it comes to the first change, it's considered a nerf. When it comes to the second change, it is considered a buff. But let's see what they have to say. Missing an attack with Punishment of the Damned can feel very punishing. Oh, the irony. The cooldown after attacking is fairly long, which gives the survivor a lot of time to gain distance. By lowering the cooldown, you'll be able to use your power more liberally without having it backfire as hard if you miss. The goal of these changes is to move Pyramid Head's gameplay in a more skill-based direction, which rewards aiming your attacks well rather than canceling your power or using it only in situations where you're guaranteed a hit. we are not aiming to make the executioner stronger or weaker overall, but rather to address some of the frustrations of both sides. So this is good, guys. This is good. Like I said before, the first one is definitely a nerf. The second one is kind of a buff. So it's kind of a good bad situation. Honestly, it kind of looks like executioner did not move at all. Okay, it's still kind of the same old executioner. So basically, when it comes to pyramid hits power, guys, if you actually use Rights of Judgment, if you actually stick your sword on the ground, you will have that delay. But if you actually commit to it, if you actually commit to using the power, you'll be rewarded with a decreased delay after using that power. So that is a good thing. I take that as a win. Okay, I do like this change. But anyway, let's keep going to perk changes. Right here it says, we are happy to see that some of the perks from chapter 16 have found their way into people's regular lineup and niche builds. However, there are 3 perks that we'd like to revisit. These perks are Trail of Torment. We erred on the side of caution when releasing this perk. If the killer is undetectable too often, it can easily become overwhelming to start overshadow actual stealth-based killers. After watching it play out, we are comfortable with giving Trail of Torment a buff. The undetectable status effect will now remain active until the mark generator stops regressing or until a survivor is put into dying state by any means. This creates an interesting dynamic where the survivors need to stop the generator from regressing to remove the undetectable status effect. The killer can use this to ambush survivors or use it to sneak up on a survivor from an unexpected angle. So when it comes to these changes right here, guys, it is very, very interesting just because kind of a do or die situation. Just because we're gonna see the aura of the generator that the killer did kick, whichever killer is using this perk, and it's either do or die situation because we can actually do something about it, actually go touch that generator just so this killer will get rid of the undetectable status effect, or we could just leave it be and get punished by this killer having the undetectable status effect. We'll have no idea where this killer is coming from whenever they do come after us. So do or die situation, up to you guys when it comes to this change whenever this change goes into effect, if you want to do anything about it. Honestly, I kind of want to compare it to the totem situation. Whenever if the killer is running NOED, you can either cleanse all the totems or deal with NOED later on in the game. So kind of similar. Now the next perk change is Force Penance. Force Penance has some interesting applications, but the duration seems a little low to get much use out of the broken effect. We are increasing the duration of the broken effect by 20 seconds across all tiers. So if you guys don't know what Force Penance is already, whenever a survivor takes a protection hit for another survivor, that survivor will be affected by the broken stats effect for a certain amount of time. But now with this buff of Force Penance, 20 seconds, that just adds more to the time of this perk. So they will not be able to get healed. They cannot heal themselves at all for that amount of time. And the final perk we have here is Blood Pact. Blood Pact's haste effect is nice to have, but did not last long enough to see much use. We are scrapping the duration of the haste effect and instead making it last indefinitely until the 2 survivors are no longer within 16 meters of one another. So I can already see this going very, very wrong. Okay, I can see this going very wrong. I can see this going the opposite direction where they thought this was gonna go. Okay, just because when it comes to regular Blood Pact, if you guys heal the survivor or the survivor heals you, you guys will be rewarded with a haste status effect. I'm not too sure when it comes to the percentage, but it will only last a couple of seconds. But with this change, it is going to be an infinite haste status effect until you guys actually split up. So I just want you guys to imagine being in a survival with friends, having this perk on, having Prove Thyself on, and just literally running everywhere together. Okay, just saying, hey, we're gonna work on this gen, let's run together so we can get the haste status effect throughout this trial. Keep moving, keep jumping between generator and generator. Okay, so I can definitely see this being highly abused. Okay, the only way you're going to be separating these survivors who are playing together and have this perk on is in case the killer comes after them to at the same time and they just somehow split up and the perk just deactivates. That's pretty much it. But let's keep moving on. It says right here, miscellaneous perk changes. On the subject of the perks, we have also prepared a package of perks updates for this mid-chapter. Like the perks mentioned above, we'll go through and give a short explanation of each one. First one, it says any means necessary, reduce the cooldown to 60 seconds, and added a score event for resetting a pallet. This is another perk we erred on the side of caution when releasing. Resetting pallets can be a game changer, and we wanted to make sure that it would not get out of hand. Upon review, we are comfortable with decreasing the cooldown to 60 seconds. So in my opinion, any means necessary getting a buff. I think this is a good thing. I don't really use this perk that much. It is a fun perk to use, but I don't really think it's really that helpful in game. But with the cooldown only being 60 seconds, and they even added a score event on top of that whenever you do reset a pallet, I might be using this a lot more. Next up, we have is cruel limits, increased radius to 32 meters. Okay, that's interesting. There were concerns with cruel limits being overbearing when the perk first launched, but it turned out to be a non-issue. We are increasing the range from 32 meters to 32 meters from 24 meters. So if you guys don't know what cruel limits is, basically whenever a survivor completes a gen, all vault locations will be blocked off within that certain meter range. So it was a 24 meter range, all vaults would be blocked off if it's within that range, but now they buffed it and now it's within a 32 meter range. So everything within a 32 meter range that has a vault, it will be blocked off. So next up is For the People. They added a score event for using For the People. Now, For the People is a really fun perk, it's a very clutch perk. You can definitely use it in crucial situations, but if you guys don't know what this perk does, basically you can heal a survivor one state. If they're in the dying state, you can put them in the injured instantly, and if they're in the injured state, you can instantly put them into the healthy state, but you do get punished with a broken status effect. Next up we have is Mindbreaker, increased duration of the exhausted status effect. So there's definitely a lot of buffs when it comes to all these perks that they're talking about. The exhausted status effect from Mindbreaker often ended up being too short to make use out of. We're increasing the duration by a few seconds across the board. So another buff right there for Mindbreaker. I don't really use that perk that much, but I'm gonna have to try it out now along with this perk, with this buff, sorry. And next up we have is Slippery Meat. Now this is a perk I'm really interested in. Okay, so it says remove bear trap escape chance and added an increased chance to self-unhook. Okay, now this is crazy. This can definitely be game-changing. Now this says Slippery Meat has found its way to some niche builds, but it is one of the few perks from back in the day that affects one killer more than others, increasing your odds of escaping from bear traps. Yeah, okay, that's true. This is something we've moved away from recently, so we will be removing the increased bear trap chance, escape chance from this perk. Okay. And right here it says, to better play into the niche playstyle, Slippery Meat will now increase your chance to self-unhook in addition to giving you more self-unhook attempts. Okay, now this is crazy. Okay, so when it comes to Slippery Meat, this basically just increased your chances of escaping bear traps. But now, it will give you more attempts whenever you're on hook to escape. Not only that, on top of that, it increases your chance to escape from a hook. Now that is pretty crazy. I can't wait to try that out in game. We're just gonna have to wait to see how this plays out, just because this could be a very interesting perk to actually run in game. Next up is a perk that a lot of killers use, especially in combination with Sloppy Butcher. But when it comes to the changes, they've removed the healing speed penalty, but they increased the penalty on other actions. Thanatophobia is meant to encourage the survivors to heal in order to avoid the penalty from the perk. However, it currently reduces healing speed as well, creating a lose-lose situation no matter what the survivors do. That's true, I'll be honest. This prevents us from making the perk stronger, as it would quickly get overbearing. To address this, we are removing the reduced healing speed from the perk, but increasing the action speed penalty to compensate. So they completely removed the healing penalty that this perk did do, but on top of that, they did give us an increased penalty on other actions when it comes to this perk. So not really a win situation, not really a lose situation. So we're just gonna have to wait and see how this actually plays out whenever this does get released, but let's keep going. Next up is We're Gonna Live Forever. They added new ways to get tokens. Okay, added increased healing speed when healing a dying survivor. Okay, so if you guys don't already, We're Gonna Live Forever is basically a blood point farming perk, but they added new ways to get tokens and the increased healing speed. Okay, so this is basically a buff. Okay, this is definitely 100% a buff. It says We're Gonna Live Forever is often seen as the survivor equivalent to barbecue and chili, but lacking a secondary like the latter or revealing. It can also cause survivors to compete for unhooks, leading to people rushing in for hook saves before it's safe. By adding additional ways to get tokens, we hope to reduce the competition between survivors. The secondary effect gives the perk more use within the trial. We only have a little more to go, but next up, guys, it is Technician. This is a perk that literally no one uses, okay? I never see anyone using this perk whatsoever. So I'm guessing they're giving more buffs to certain perks that no one really uses, so just so they can open more doors so people can actually explore different options instead of using the same old perks every single game. So Technician, increase the chance to prevent an explosion to 100%, and they added an increased penalty to miss skill checks. Okay, alright, so this definitely makes things interesting. So if you miss a skill check, nothing's gonna happen, okay? You can keep going, it's not gonna make a notification to the killer, but if you do miss that skill check, you will get a penalty when it comes to those skill checks. So I'm not too sure. Let's go ahead and read this. It says, Technician is designed as a perk to help newer players and those who struggle with skill checks. There is, however, a random aspect to it as to whether or not the generator explosion will be prevented. To make it more consistent and play more into the learning tool aspect, we are changing the perk to always prevent the explosion, but adding a small penalty to progress for missed skill checks. Okay, miss the skill check, your speed will go slower, but you will not notify the killer that, hey, I'm working on this gen. So this is a good thing, but it does come with consequences if you do mess up the skill check. So honestly, I like this perk a lot more. It's definitely still a more of a beginner perk. It doesn't really change that fact. So if you're new to the game, this is gonna help you out a lot, but you know, hit those skill checks. And last but not least, when it comes to these perk buffs and nerfs, mostly buffs, it is Goes the Weasel. Now, we all know like 90% of killers rock this perk, okay? It is a very, very strong perk. I use it all the time. I'll be honest, okay? I love Goes the Weasel. This, it says, decrease the time the perk stays activated to 45 seconds. Originally, Goes the Weasel had a 30-second cooldown, which felt too short to get much use out of. We later increased this to 60 seconds. This felt much better to use, but it wound up being a little too lenient and allowed killers to find and kick a generator at their leisure, often after chasing and downing a different survivor. To add some urgency back into the perk, we are splitting the difference and changing the time to 45 seconds at tier 3. This way you'll have enough time to get to the generator you want to kick, but you'll want to kick the generator before committing to a chase with another survivor. So this is a nerf, okay? This is 100% a nerf, but it's not that bad of a nerf, okay? It is not that bad. I think we're still going to be able to do as much as we want when it comes to whenever you hook a survivor. If you want to go after a chase, if you can still do that, but just make use of your time whenever you do that. Maybe you should just go for a hit instead of going for the full down instead when it comes to this nerf. So definitely watch your time and just make sure you play this perk right. And next up, it says Perk Rarity Simplification. Keeping up with the theme of perks, a small change but noteworthy nonetheless. All perks will now share the same rarities based on their tiers. Currently, tier 3 perks can either be rare or very rare. This can make it difficult to find the perk you're looking for, and since the perk list is sorted not just alphabetically, but also divided across 2 different rarities. Going forward, perk rarity will match the tier of the perk. That is actually pretty awesome. Okay, I do like this. 1 uncommon, 2 rare, 3 very rare. This makes it easier to find the perks you're looking for in your perk list, and it also makes it easier to tell what tier a perk is at a glance. So I actually like this, okay, especially for new survivors. This is gonna help them out a little more, but this is very simple and very understanding, okay? I do like this. Instead of having like level 3 or tier 3 perks that are green, all tier 3, every single level 3 perk is now gonna be purple. Every tier 2 level 2 is gonna be green, and every tier 1 level 1, whatever you want to call it, it's gonna be yellow. So I do like this. It's very simple, okay? I like it. And right here, guys, it just gives you the graphic update. We already went over this when it comes to these new maps and how they're gonna look like. If you guys haven't checked that video out, definitely go to my channel and do so. There's definitely a lot of information on this. Everything looks great. Okay, I cannot wait for this graphic update. Everything's just gonna be looking so much better. So here it is. Here's some images if you guys haven't checked that out just yet. This is the Macmillan Estate. So everything's gonna be looking very nice. And last here, it says this concludes the September edition of the developer update. Of all the changes mentioned above, we will be available for testing in the player test build, the PTB, on Steam starting Tuesday, September 29th. So that is literally 3 days from now from when I'm uploading this video. We look forward to seeing what you think once you've had a chance to try everything out, the Dead by Daylight team. So there it is, you guys, the developer update for September. A lot of stuff happening, a lot of information there, a lot of changes when it comes to Pyramid Head, a lot of buffs when it comes to perks, and some nerfs in there, but not really that devastating or crucial. So I did like this, the developer update. I'm looking forward to. Hopefully you guys enjoy the video. Let me know what you guys think of all these changes down in the comments. But that's gonna do it for me. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. It definitely does help a lot. Follow me on Twitch if you guys want to see any DBD action live. I'm usually live every single night, so come out, we'll have some fun, and I'll see you guys next video maker, right? Peace.